MyMMANews.com, being joined by Piankhi, the Nappy Ninja Zimmerman. He's taking on Josh Jackson. It's going down at FightWorld 21 this Saturday, February 12th, in historic Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. First and foremost, once again, I got to thank my man Piankhi for joining me. Piankhi, it's always a pleasure, whether I'm seeing you on the Zoom meetings, whether I'm seeing you at the fights, whether I'm seeing you as announcing you as winner in the cage. It's always an honor. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Likewise, man. It's been many good years of us working together.
Many good years and multiple facets for sure. So congratulations, King of the Cage champion, lightweight champion. So I have to start there.
Thank you.
Amazing performance. It was a hell of a fight. Came out on top, man. So we'll start there. How do you feel getting off of that fight and getting into this fight, man? It's strap collecting season.
Yeah. So it's my second title. It's great to have a title like King of the Cage. It's a pretty prestigious award that I earned. And yeah, I was actually supposed to fight that guy right before the pandemic. Then after the pandemic, the people who were left were still training, it was me and him. So I was offered a title fight for him, and he was like, yeah, he was down. I was down. I don't think I've ever seen him in better shape. So,
unfortunately for you.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? To be honest,
but fortunately for you, I get it, because you want the best.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like I got like that, like I'm Goku in my own head. I mean, I'm the Nappy Ninja. I'm not, our hero. Like I need the best. I mean, give me the best so I can beat the best, and that's the only way to be the best. You know what I mean? So he came in like super shape and a lot of grit and heart. It was a true battle of champions. He never gave up. I heard him a couple times. I heard him, I think, at least 3 times in the first 2 rounds, and they weren't little hurts. They were big hurts. And each time he came back and threatened me. So it was definitely a chess match, a battle of wills. And big ups to him. And so it makes the belt worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't go on fighting chumps and old ladies on the street. Like I'm fighting the best of the best. So
definitely, it was a true championship effort for certain. If anybody that saw the fight, I suggest you go watch it. But anybody that wants a true taste of the Nappy Ninja, check that fight out. It was definitely impressive. But so before we get too much into this interview and this fight itself, I want to talk about the Cyber Ninjas, your nonprofit. I know you've been putting a lot of time, a lot of effort. You've been putting your best foot forward in this, man, and you've been doing big things for it. So tell everybody, tell fans what you've been doing outside of the cage for this, what it all is, and how fans and supporters can keep up with it.
Okay. So Cyber Ninjas Global Inc. is a nonprofit that I started. It is a STEAM education nonprofit. I started about maybe 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. And so it's a summer camp originally, and it kind of evolved into this like overarching company where we provide services like private tutoring, after school programs, before school programs, in school programs, and our summer camp. And so it's we teach all types of things in the STEAM world, and STEAM is basically STEM with art, right? So you throw A in there, and now it's STEAM. So you got science, technology, engineering, art, and math, and we teach all these things through computer programming, web design, video game design, video production, music production, digital animation, 3D modeling, lots of different things that we teach. So with this, especially it's pretty cool for Black History Month, this company called Black Men's Ventures started this annual competition called the Black Founders Pitch. In the Black Founders Pitch, you get Black founders, me being one of them, to do a pitch with slides and basically be like, hey, like this is what we're doing and this is how much money we're asking for. So I did my pitch, and I had an amazing visual designer in Clarence Alexander, who I did like all the slides. He kind of remixed my slides and made them really, really good. And I went and pitched our idea and showed what we do, and people really liked it, and we got into the finalists for the competition. So now we're in 3rd place, but we still got some more time to go, and I know a lot of people who can help me out. So if you can go to it's
Hmm.
Raisify.co. So it's RAISY, sorry, like raisin or raisin money. So
Well, I'll include the link in the article as well. Just, I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah. So yeah, so
so that
it will help.
everybody can know where to go from there. But
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. And I noticed what you were saying as far as the steam, you adding the A in there. So obviously, the art is a big part of what you're passionate about,
yeah.
martial arts. I mean, from personal level, I know you're into whether it be art design, your brother a musician, so art, it runs deep in your family. So why do you think that's so? It's almost a mission statement for you to get back into the youth.
Uh, I've always kind of liked working with the younger generations and bringing them up. I guess being an older brother, it's kind of like a thing. Like, yeah, I always wanted to go back and help him out. Every time I got a piece of candy, or I got some chips or something, I'd always share with him. If I learned something, I would always try to, teach him. If I got a new game, he'd be the first person to come play with me. So like I grew up in that kind of role of looking after the younger ones. And so like, from back in, at my old church, I used to help out with like, Sunday school and kids programs like summer camps and stuff like that. And I kind of evolved over time, eventually to the point where I was leading summer camp. And with this one company, I didn't really appreciate how they were handling things in terms of the employees and how they viewed the children and the parents and some of their tactics when dealing with stuff. So I turned to my man Clarence, who's my VP of Cyber Ninjas now. And at the time, he was just one of the guys underneath me. That friend of a friend, said, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Piankhi's hiring. You should go and get this summer job."
Mm-hmm.
So I was I've been working with him. He was great. He's one of the best guys I had, and the company kept trying to take him off of the roster, and I'm like, why? This guy is dope. He's helping this thing like run really excellently.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like not paying me on time. It's a bunch of nonsense. So uh, I told him one day, I was like, I want to do my own camp, because I think we could do this better.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, yeah, if you want to do that, I'll do it with you. Let's go. And I was like, seriously? Because I really wanted to do it, but I didn't expect
Mm-hmm.
for him to so quickly be like, onto the
Right.
idea. So he was onto it. We started, coming up with logo designs and stuff like that. And then I went to my other man, Jeff Melvin, who
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, yeah, man, let's get a business plan running. And then we started it. We got our first hire. It was Chris D'Angelo, who's now our lead programmer and our CTO. So like, we just started running with it. And what I realized is at first we started off as a for-profit organization, but then we wanted to always kind of help out the students who couldn't really afford it,
Mm-hmm.
because what we were teaching is expensive. You need to pay for people's time, and people's time is valuable. Who knows a lot of things, right? And we have
Yeah.
professionals who are really good at these things,
Mm-hmm.
but we want to give access to those who don't have it. So we always had a scholarship program ready to be like, all right, any kind of extra money we have, or if any kind of donations we can take in, we'll funnel that through, and we'll either get a child in for free for like a week or so, or we'll give them a greatly reduced rate, try to work with them.
Mm-hmm. Of
So
course.
we had a lot of really, a lot of really like talented kids come in through our program that way. And eventually we're like, we're all passionate about what we're doing. We're not here to just make a bunch of money. We love like, teaching the kids, playing the games with them and mentoring them. And so we're like, we should make this a nonprofit. So we did, we changed it to a nonprofit, and we made that our kind of like our staple, like, hey, help, donate to what we're doing so that we can teach kids who don't have the access to these things. And we make sure that the information that we're teaching is widely available as well. So it's kind of like a 50-50. Like some things that they'll learn are more exclusive, but they'll know
Mm-hmm.
about it. It'll be there. And then we always have a free version. So like, hey, you want to do 3D modeling? Here's Blender. Blender works great, right? But they get exposed to different things, so that they don't just get kind of stuck in any like any kind of spot. Because the free world changes. Sometimes things that are free become not free, and you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
and some
That's
things that
awesome, man.
were expensive become free. It's just things kind of change. So um, yeah. So so I did the pitch for that a while ago, and they just aired it last Friday, and so now we're trying to build enough votes to get into first place. First place wins $5,000, and we are actually trying to get uh, the money. We're trying to get the first place money so we can invest in our new location because we're going to be opening up a spot in Baltimore. So Baltimore,
Nice.
a lot of great need. I know I've taught in Baltimore.
Mm.
It's the one side of Baltimore is great. The other side, it needs a lot of help. And so we're trying to see about, helping build that community because that's really what Cyber News is all about. It's about community.
That's awesome, man. And like you were saying, some parts of that area of Baltimore they definitely need it. And like you were saying, some of the intricacies of just let's talk about web design or video game design that's just not widely available. It takes time and it takes wisdom and people to offer their time. So I can't say enough good things about you, dude. You're always willing to put your best foot forward and give, and you're just a good dude, man. So moving forward,
I'm
let's
trying to.
let's get it let's get it enough of the good guy, and let's talk about the guy that intimidates the shit out of me when I'm announcing his name, and then he has that stoic look that looks like he's gonna stomp through the person across the cage. This time it'll be Josh Jackson. So,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
uh, so you fought on the last card together at Fight World. He was the co-main event. You were the main event. So obviously you were busy on the night. You had some things to do, but what do you know about him as an opponent? Obviously, we live in a world of tech. You know tech very well, so you can look up your opponents. What do you know about Josh as an opponent?
I know we've been on several cards before. We actually trained together once.
Really?
Back Crazy 88s. Yeah, I was just a friend of mine, Jason Park, had invited me to come over, and I was like, yeah, sure. And so I saw him there, and we are doing some drills, and I was like, man, this guy's like heavy and really strong. So I was like, yo, man, you fight? And he's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, I think I know you. I think I've seen you a couple times. I'm like, yeah, I'm Piankhi, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he's seen me in certain events. I've been fighting for years and stuff. So, and he was telling me, I was when I asked him like, are you a fighter? He was like, yeah. I was like, "Oh, what weight you fight at?" He's like, well, I'm trying to get down to 55. I was like, that's my weight,
Immediately on the
not
radar.
55. Like, you're really big and like, okay, all right, you're gonna try to get to 55. Good luck. So so I figured like there might be a time where I might have to actually fight him.
Mm,
And so I kind of it took a mental note at that point. I was like, all right, this guy, I'm on his radar and he's on mine, but maybe not because we're in two different generations as well, right? So like I started way before him, um, and but he's young and strong, and I saw him, kind of climb through the ranks here and there. And so when we were at Fight World, um, he he beat his opponent, and I beat mine, and we saw each other later on at the WKAs, and so we were talking and chatting that up there, and I was like, yeah, I saw you that you were the co-main event. He's like, yeah, because he was on the other corner, so I didn't want to see him. He's like, yeah, it's like,
mm,
oh, your opponent was the guy that he was complaining about his loss and whatnot. He's like, yeah, well, he lost, he got beat. So I went and watched his fight, and I was like, okay, okay, and yeah, he's a I would say he's a kind of fighter that has good grit. He's a
mm.
gritty fighter. Um, in terms of his skills, I'm not like he's a big dude, and he kind of fights like a big dude, and so I feel like he's most dangerous like when he's on top of you because he's heavy and he's
Mm.
strong. He's dense. So I feel like fighting him for some people might feel like fighting the juggernaut because even in his upper weight classes, he was still the bigger guy most of the time, at least from what I saw.
Mm.
So I figured, all right, cool. He wants to fight me, great. Fight World's let me take a title fight. That's great. But then I saw, we're going for 3 rounds. So I was like, that's not a title fight. So I tried to get that fixed. And, I was told that he didn't want a 5-round fight. So then I'm like, well, that's that's weird. So, so that they'd only take a 3 round fight or a 3 round title fight. And so I figured I just got the King of the Cage title. Um, I have to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? So I don't want to go and then just do a regular fight. If I can take a title fight, I'm gonna take a title fight. So that's why it's like, all right, cool. You know what? The 5 round is off the table. We'll do the 3 round. And
Hmm.
I've never had a 5 round fight go into the later championship rounds. I just finished them. So and they really haven't gone past the second. In fact, most of my wins overall really haven't gone past the second, except for one.
Hmm.
Um, in that one fight that I did win, I went past the second round. Um, I fought a super soldier from Brazil. So that guy was really. I don't think anyone's taken as much damage as him from me in a single fight.
And that was that card that was like super low key, like some royalty type thing under. It wasn't underground, but it was overseas, right?
That was in Brazil, in Sao
That was in
Paulo.
Brazil. It was yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking. I don't know where I was getting the low
Did
key
I tell
stuff
you
from.
about the Mario Yamasaki story?
Maybe.
So there was a UFC fight
Hmm.
years ago in DC,
Right.
and Josh and I went. Josh Peters, my coach,
Of course.
we went to go see it, and we had a blast. And afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, well, let's go to my favorite, Chinese restaurant in this area." So I was like, "All right, cool. I love Chinese food." So we go and we get seated, and like 10, 15 feet away is Mario Yamasaki and a bunch of other like refs and officials. And I was like buzzing out because Anderson
Yeah.
Silva is my favorite MMA fighter, and
Right.
Mario refed a bunch of his fights. So Mario was my favorite like referee, and I was like geeking. And so I was like, you know what? I want to go like say something to him, but like he's eating with his peoples and he looks like he wants to be left alone. And I know that a lot of those types, when you become more high profile, like people bother you all the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna not do anything right now, but one day he's gonna raise my hand in victory. And
And
that
he
was like
did.
years and years ago. So then like come was it 2018, I get invited to, fight in Brazil.
Right.
And I was like, sure. And his brother, and had actually was looking for a fighter to go, a 155 fighter to go to Brazil. So Josh was like, yeah, sure, we'll take it. And I get there, Mario Yamasaki is the ref, Damian Maya was the guest, and we were the main event, and I was the only American on the card.
Yeah, I
And
remember this. But why?
yeah,
Where am I getting that? It was like it was not televised, right? Was there a stream for it?
no, we just had to do our own recording. It was supposed to
Okay,
be
right. Gotcha.
televised, but there was, I guess, a kind of political shift in Brazil, and then they kind of lost funding for it, so they didn't.
Gotcha.
But they actually are trying to do. I think they did one last year, or they're trying to do one this year, and I was like super excited about that because I'd love to go back there. It was great,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Now, with all that said, and as every time I interview you, we always talk about, or I always mention the fact that since I've known you, you've been a student of the game. Your martial arts spirit, it runs deep. I mean, deeper than some of the fighters that I know as far as traditional martial arts. Now, with that said, do you take the the 3 round title fight as a tad bit of disrespect in the spirit of a title fight?
Oh yes, certainly, certainly.
Really?
I'm a champion. I'm a champion of King of the Cage, which is pretty prestigious. It's I would say if it was King of Cages here, FightWorld would be like here. No disrespect to FightWorld, it's just not as big. The production's not as big. It's just not as big of an organization. They both are old organizations with a lot of respect. A lot of great UFC fighters came from both organizations. But when I fought on that kind of high level, um, and I became the champion there, and then I come back to Fight World, and now um, we're doing a 3 round title fight instead of a 5 round title fight. To me, it's just like, okay, you're trying to you're trying to pull a fast one on me, instead of really see me as a champion. So yeah, I take that as disrespect. Champions should get a championship fight, right? Not and as like I say, it's more about the principle. It's a
Hmm.
principle, right? I've had two other title fights besides the one that we're going to have on Saturday. One was King of the Cage that ended in the second round. One of them was at Stellar Fights that ended in the second round. Like I said, all my professional wins are from the second round finish, except for the one in Brazil when that guy was he was just able to take a lot of damage. So, maybe Josh Jackson's thinking that he can make it to the third round with me. And if that's the case, I hope he has a lot of ice and Advil for afterwards because, I bring the pain.
I I know that, and when I was talking with Josh, and I like Josh a lot. Good guy. He was saying that it was his management that had to do with it. It wasn't much of him. But my question would be with adding on to that, do you think his management made that stipulation to favor him? Because, and I just want to say, most professional title fights that I know of are 5-5s.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. I think whether it's him, whether it's his management, somebody don't want him going into the fourth and fifth round with me because if anybody's ever watched me, they know I don't really get tired.
Hmm. Does that add a bit of confidence?
Hmm?
Does that add a bit of confidence for you? I mean,
No,
really,
no,
I would think
no.
it would, honestly.
I say that because fighting is dangerous and it's chaotic,
Hmm.
right? You can come to it with order, but you can't control everything. So, of course, I have a game plan.
Of
Of
course.
course, I think he has a game plan of, sit on him and lay on him and try to beat him up a little bit. Um, he might even have a couple of techniques to try to do some finishes. Uh, I've been in the game for a long time, so I know to expect the unexpected, but also come in with a strong foot forward. So I'm always building to my game all the time. Every day I'm in the gym. I'm trying to learn something, perfect something, bring something further. And so I just see this as another challenge. So last fight, I actually wanted to get a particular move off, right? I learned this new move and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. They're not going to even know, blah, blah. And I went to the fight, move never came out.
Mhm.
Move never
did
came out.
did you
And a
even think
lot of
about it?
it wasn't that I didn't think about it, it's that the opportunity that I wanted to make wasn't there because I ended up making opportunities I didn't know were going to happen.
Mm. Mm.
So, like if you see that fight, like I dropped the guy with the first jab.
Yeah.
I landed. The first landed jab that I hit him with, he fell. And that surprised me so much at the time that I rushed in and I got too close to him. And so we're end up grappling and I'm like, crap, all I had to do was post and strike. But now we're in this weird position
Mm.
and I'm way too close to him and I don't want to be here because now he can try to stop me from hitting him. Um, but yeah, so I took that and learned from it. You got to pace yourself in different situations, whether you're on the ground or whether you're standing. So um, I forgot what I was going with that. What was the question again?
I I was man, I was listening to you talk and then I got lost in my own question. Um I think it was something along the lines of I said, do you feel a sense of confidence
Oh
with the
yes,
fact
right.
that
So
he
I feel I guess I feel confidence in that. Like, all right, you're you probably can't last that long with me
mhm,
because I'm in 155. That's my realm. This will be his first 155 fight.
mhm,
So it makes sense for them to be like, let's do 3 rounds with him. Because if you can sit on him, look at his weaknesses is wrestlers who are heavy and they sit on him and they lay there, right?
mhm,
Um, or, get a lucky finish somewhere, right? So that they're planning for that, right? So it's not just the fact that like, oh, okay, you don't want to last. Okay, you can't last. But see, I've been beat before with the mindset of like, oh well, I'm just going to come in and knock you out, right? That's what happened with the Bellator fight. And I had to learn from that mistake.
Mm,
I was like, okay, I had trained for someone different. I came with a new type of opponent, but I'll be fine. And I wasn't, because my mindset wasn't flexible enough to change
mm,
at that moment. So from then on, it was just like, all right. One of my wrestling coaches hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I hadn't been working with you as much as possible. I'm going to make time to work with you because I saw that fight and you should have won. You just needed to know how to stop that type of play."
mhm,
And
mhm,
so I went from then on and I found out what Piankhi the wrestler feels like, what Piankhi the wrestler looks like, what the Nappy Ninja in the wrestling skills in the wrestling realm is. Doesn't have to be the best wrestler in the world, but I got to find out what my wrestling is, right? I don't have to
mhm,
be the best boxer in the world, but I got to find out what my best punches are, what my best kicks are, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, from that experience, went into the next FightWorld fight with Elijah Harris, and he tried to use some of that mass. And this kind of thing, I feel like the thing people are doing is like once they find out the things that I'm weak against, like they're gonna bulk up towards those things. So he missed weight, but like he only fought at 155 before, so I don't know how you miss weight all of a sudden. So he did, and that went to his detriment. I think he tried to get too much muscle so he could have too much like more power than me, and more mass than me, and then he ends up missing weight. Well, you miss weight, and now you can't lose the weight you need to, but you drained yourself even further, so now you're more tired for a fight. So you know, MMA is all about preparation. So those who are prepared are going to be favored. So I made sure that I was prepared for someone trying to grapple with me, and he got a takedown. I got a takedown. You know what I mean? So it's knowing how to defend things much better. Like it wasn't like I just got taken down again and again and again. Like
mm,
he got one really good one, and I went back and watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. Like I gave it to him, I didn't even realize it. So like of course, I drilled to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And then for my takedown, it was very simple. Um, Caught him off guard. Got my position, ground and pound. That's my thing. Got the win. So with this guy, I'm pretty sure he's going to think I'm bigger than him. I'm going to work on my speed. I'll be a little bit faster than normal, so maybe I can get in some nice, hard hits and hurt him, and then grab him, hold him, and put him on the ground. But I said I've been working on my wrestling since then. I've worked on my jiu-jitsu since then. I've been working on my striking since then. So even since my King of the Cage fight, I'm a better fighter than that, and that's like my mentality about martial arts is like kind of like you think about Goku, right? Goku never goes back down to the lower power level. He's always rising, always increasing his skill, always increasing his power, and that's kind of how I feel like I have to be.
mm.
And if I can't excel in one way, I have to excel in another way that levels the playing field for my plan. Right? My plan is to be at the top up here. Then I need to make sure that like I'm always reaching for that in some way. So um, you gotta not just like catch up to me. You gotta surpass me at this point. So that's just how I feel.
So how do you become the Fight World Lightweight Champion? Even though 3 rounds, I know you're shooting for less than that. How do you get it done?
Um, Last fight I wanted to use a particular move, didn't get to use it, but I used some other stuff. I wanted to finish it in the first, but I knew it wasn't going to go past the second. With this fight, I really don't think it's going to go past the first. If it does go past the first, uh, it'll end early in the second, much earlier than I think he thinks. Because he's talented, he's skilled, but I think the difference between us is I don't think he's learned enough to close that gap, and I'm a champion, and he hasn't become a champion yet. And I've watched some of his fights, and I don't see. I see someone. I say he's got the grit. The grit is there, and that I respect. Um, but he's not a closer. All my wins are finishes, and they're finishes because I make them finishes. Besides, well, that was a win. I had a tie, but that was weird.
You plan it being strikes, submission? How do you plan on getting it done?
I mean, I always would like it to be strikes.
Yep.
Like I say, I almost knocked the other guy out by accident. So like, I can hit hard. You know what I mean? I know that my opponent's coming in with heavy hands, but I can hit just as effectively or more because I just have more experience with the striking. I don't think he would disagree with that. It's just skill levels of different things. Um, but his pressure is his biggest strength, and so I'm just gonna have to use my own skills, and hit his weaknesses. So I feel like with striking, I could finish it. He's not gonna want to do that though. He's gonna want to bring it to the ground, and I'm gonna try to keep him from that, or take him to the ground myself. If I get on top, I'm pretty much ending it. That's just kind of how I feel. The only person who's not been finished when I get on top, it was because the bell rang. That's literally was it. Like I was coming, and then the bell rang, and he was like, "Oof." So and that was a fight with oh my gosh, what's his name? It was at Stellar Fights. It was the first pro fight at Stellar Fights was my fight with this guy.
Um, I keep thinking because I know you were supposed to fight Hopeton, but that never happened. That's the one fight that I keep thinking about, but I would have to go back and look at like Tapology or something.
Yeah,
Um,
that guy was pretty good. He actually was very much like me. We had like very similar striking levels. My jiu-jitsu was better, but he's a very talented fighter. That guy.
yeah.
He had a lot of fights. We went back and forth on that joint. But yeah, once I got on top of him, he was like, "Oh God, no."
All right, man. Well, best of luck on Saturday, man. Obviously, I'll be in the ring or cage calling all the action, so I'm sure you'll get ready to answer some more of my questions after the pending win, and
Oh yeah,
look forward to seeing you there, man.
look forward to seeing you too, brother.
All right, brother Piankhi, I appreciate your time and best of luck this weekend, man.
Thank you.
There he goes, Piankhi, the Nappy Ninja Zimmerman. He has taken on Josh Jackson this weekend, this Saturday, February 12th at FightWorld 21. It's going down in historic Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Make sure you get your tickets. It'll be in the article below, as well as how you can support my man PZ with his Cyber Ninjas Inc. For my man Piankhi, I'm Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to MyMMANews.com for all your fight news needs.